Ladies and gentlemen, purpose-driven people, we live in a world where our minds are bombarded with distractions, negativity, and clutter that robs us of clarity, creativity, and ultimately our destiny. The greatest battlefield is not in the office, the marketplace, or even in relationships. It is within the mind. If you don't master the habit of cleansing your thoughts daily, you will live beneath your potential. In a world that moves faster than ever before, where notifications, emails, and messages flood your attention from the very moment you open your eyes, we have unknowingly trained our minds to live in reaction rather than intention. The problem is not the technology. The problem is that we have lost the art of mastering silence. You see, silence is not a waste of time. Silence is the womb of ideas, the birthplace of clarity, and the secret chamber where purpose is refined. If you are serious about maximizing your life, if you are serious about dominating your day, then you must begin by taking dominion over your mind, and that begins with intentional silence. Many people wake up, and the first thing they reach for is their phone. They check messages, they scroll social media, they drown in other people's opinions, and before they've even had a chance to think their own thoughts, they are already filled with anxiety, comparison, and distractions. How can you expect to lead your life when you start your day as a follower of noise? If you do not command the morning will command you. If you do not take control of your first thoughts, then your day will be shaped by whatever voice shouts the loudest. This is why intentional silence is not a suggestion. It is a discipline for champions. When you begin your day with 5 minutes of pure silence, you are not being lazy. You are not being unproductive. You are preparing your mind to think with precision. You are allowing the clutter of yesterday to settle. You are giving yourself permission to listen to your own spirit before the voices of the world invade your peace. It is in these moments of silence that you will begin to notice how much unnecessary noise you carry daily. Worries about things that haven't happened yet, replaying conversations that no longer matter, anxieties over outcomes you can't control. These are mental parasites that feed on your time and energy. Silence becomes your weapon to cut them off. Silence is not the absence of activity. It is the preparation of intentional activity. It's where you begin to align your mind with your mission. In silence, you confront your thoughts. You recognize which ones deserve your attention and which ones are simply mental junk. But here's the key: silence must be intentional. You must deliberately create space for it. That means no phone, no TV, no music, no conversations, just you and the stillness. This is not meditation for relaxation. This is mental alignment for activation. You are not emptying your mind for the sake of emptiness. You are clearing it so that the right thoughts can enter. Some people ask, what should I think about in those 5 minutes? The answer is simple: nothing and everything. You are not trying to force thoughts. You are observing what arises. You are letting your mind settle. It's like muddy water in a glass. If you keep shaking it, it remains cloudy. But if you let it sit in stillness, the dirt settles to the bottom and the water becomes clear. That's what happens to your mind in silence. And once the mental dirt settles, clarity emerges. You begin to see solutions that were hidden beneath the noise. You start recognizing the difference between what is urgent and what is important. You begin to hear the whispers of ideas that are often drowned by the constant shouting of the external world. People who practice intentional silence daily become leaders of their own minds. They don't react to every disturbance because they have trained their inner environment to remain calm amidst external chaos. They become proactive in their time management because their minds are clear about what truly matters. You will discover that those 5 minutes of silence will save you hours of wasted energy later in the day. Why? Because clarity at the start eliminates confusion during execution. It's not that you will have fewer challenges, but you will face them with a composed and focused mind. In those moments of silence, you also give room for divine inspiration. You open yourself to receive insights that you would have missed if your mind was too noisy. There are ideas, strategies, and breakthroughs waiting in the realm of silence, but most people never access them because they are too busy being busy. Time is not maximized by doing more, it is maximized by thinking right. And intentional silence is the discipline that sharpens your thinking. Make no mistake, the person who masters silence will master time. Because when you command your thoughts, you command your actions, and when you command your actions, you command your results. The discipline of starting your day in intentional silence is a small hinge that swings the big door of destiny. This is not a trendy habit for a season. This is a lifelong principle for those who desire to live with dominion over their time and mind. One of the greatest burdens that people carry every single day is not on their shoulders. It is in their minds. It is the constant load of unfinished thoughts, unanswered questions, silent worries, and mental clutter that quietly builds up like a storm cloud, eventually raining down confusion and stress on your life. You see, the human mind was never designed to store every thought that passes through it. The mind is a processor, not a container. When you fail to release the unnecessary, you will suffocate the necessary. This is why writing down your thoughts is not just an exercise in productivity. It is a spiritual discipline of cleansing your mental environment. Many people think they are busy because they have so much to do, but the truth is they feel busy because their mind is crowded with disorganized thoughts. Imagine trying to work in a room filled with stacks of papers scattered on every surface, with no order, no categories, no clarity. That is how most people operate in their minds every single day. Every conversation, every responsibility, every fear, every future plan. They are all mixed together, causing mental congestion. But here is the truth. You cannot create order in your external life if you have chaos in your internal life. The battlefield is not the calendar, the battlefield is the mind. This is where the daily habit of the mind dump exercise becomes a game changer. It's simple yet profoundly effective. Every morning, before the rush of the day begins, you take a pen and a notebook, and you allow your mind to pour itself out on paper. You do not filter. You do not organize. You do not edit. You simply write down everything that is swirling in your head. Worries, tasks, random ideas, things you need to do, conversations you need to have, concerns that are bothering you, anything and everything that comes to mind. Dump it all. The paper becomes a safe space for your mind to release the weight it was never meant to carry. You see, this is not about creating a perfect to-do list. This is about creating mental space. Most of your stress is not from the actual problems, but from carrying unresolved thoughts about the problems. Writing them down is like releasing a pressure valve in your mind. You free up your mental bandwidth to focus on what truly matters. When you write, you transfer what's in your head into the physical world, and in that simple act, you separate yourself from the clutter. The invisible becomes visible, and when you can see it, you can manage it. What is powerful about this habit is that it removes the emotional fog from your thinking. Thoughts that feel overwhelming in your head often lose their power when they are written down. You start realizing that some of your worries are exaggerated, some tasks are not as urgent as they seemed, and some ideas that were floating aimlessly now have the potential to become structured plans. Clarity is born when confusion is confronted. People often ask, how long should I do this? It's not about time. It's about emptying the mind. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes 15. The goal is not to be quick. The goal is to be thorough. You are not just making a list. You are performing mental surgery. You are removing the clutter that sabotages your focus and drains your time. Now, understand this. Not everything you write down will be important. That's not the point. The act of releasing those thoughts is what prepares your mind to focus on what's important. Once the mind dump is complete, you will notice an immediate sense of mental lightness. It's like walking into a clean room after decluttering. Your mind becomes a space where creativity can flow and strategic thinking can thrive. Some people think that writing down their thoughts is unnecessary because they can handle it all in their head. But let me tell you, Pride in mental multitasking is one of the greatest thieves of focus. You are not designed to juggle every thought at once. The most successful people in the world are not those who think the most, but those who think the clearest. Writing down your thoughts is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of wisdom. Another hidden benefit of this habit is that it allows you to track recurring patterns. When you consistently write down your thoughts, you start noticing which worries keep coming back, which tasks you keep avoiding, and which ideas keep resurfacing. These patterns reveal where your time and energy are being drained. It's like shining a flashlight on the hidden leaks in your mind, and once you see the leaks, you can fix them. This habit also develops your mental discipline. It trains you to become an observer of your own mind rather than a prisoner of your thoughts. You stop reacting to every emotion and start responding with intentionality. When your mind is clear, your time is protected. You are no longer jumping from task to task, reacting to every mental interruption. Instead, you operate from a place of strategic focus. So, every morning, give your mind a gift. The gift of emptying itself without judgment, without censorship, without pressure. Write it all down and let your mind breathe. You will be amazed at how much sharper, calmer, and more productive you become. This is not a trendy hack. This is a timeless principle of mastering your internal environment so you can dominate your external assignments. If you are serious about maximizing your time, you must first cleanse the mind that controls how you spend it. Every single day, life offers you two choices. You can live by design or you can live by default. The majority of people wake up and allow the day to happen to them. They drift from task to task, reacting to circumstances, responding to demands, and by the end of the day, they feel exhausted yet unfulfilled. Why? Because they lived that day without a declared focus. A day without focus is like a ship without a rudder. No matter how much wind is blowing, it will drift aimlessly. But let me tell you something powerful. The greatest gift you can give yourself every morning is the power of declaration. Declaring your focus is not a motivational exercise. It is a principle of dominion. When you declare, you are not making a wish. You are issuing a command to your mind, your actions, and even to your environment. You are defining what will receive your energy and what will not. You are setting the agenda for your thoughts, your emotions, and your time. Understand this truth. Whatever you do not define, the world will define for you. If you wake up and you do not declare your focus, someone else's urgency will become your assignment. Social media will give you a focus. Emails will give you a focus. Other people's problems will give you a focus. You will find yourself busy but not productive, active but not impactful. And so, before the noise of the world claims your attention, you must first claim it for yourself. When you wake up in the morning, take a moment, just a few minutes, to ask yourself, what is the single most important thing I must accomplish today? What is the one area where I must direct my full attention? It could be completing a specific task, managing your emotional responses, maintaining discipline in your habits, or solving a key problem. Whatever it is, you must be specific and intentional. Vague goals produce vague results. Specific focus produces precise impact, but don't just think it. Speak it out loud. There is power in your words. When you speak, you activate the principle of alignment between your mind, your mouth, and your mission. Saying today, I will finish this project, is not just information, it is a declaration of intent. You are telling your mind, this is where we're going. You are instructing your emotions to align with your purpose. You are silencing the distractions by elevating your focus. Some people underestimate the power of a daily focus declaration because they confuse it with long-term goals. But let me explain, goals are the destination, daily focus is the steering wheel. You may have a 5-year vision, but if you don't control where your focus goes today, you will never reach that vision. Success is not built in the future, it is built in the micro decisions of daily focus. Every day is a building block. Every declared focus is a brick you lay on the path toward your destiny. Declaring your focus also protects you from mental fragmentation. In a world where attention spans are shrinking and distractions are multiplying, the ability to focus is a superpower. When you begin your day with a clear declaration of focus, you train your mind to filter out the irrelevant. You no longer feel compelled to respond to every notification, to engage in every conversation, to say yes to every request. Your declared focus becomes a shield against time wasting activities. You learn to say, "This is not my focus for today," and in doing so, you preserve your energy for what truly matters. But there is something deeper here. Declaring your focus is not just about tasks and productivity, it is about identity. When you declare your focus, you are reinforcing the kind of person you are becoming. You are not just saying, "I will do this today." You are saying, "This is who I am today." If you declare today, "I will lead with patience," you are shaping your character. If you declare today, "I will create value through my work," you are reinforcing your purpose-driven identity. Your declarations are not merely affirmations, they are blueprints for your becoming. You must also understand that life will test your declaration. The moment you declare your focus, distractions will arise, challenges will confront you, and the enemy of your purpose will attempt to derail you. But that is why declaration is a daily habit. It is a reinforcement of your mental defenses. It is a reminder to yourself and to the world that you are not available for every random agenda. You are on assignment. You are on a mission, even if the day becomes chaotic, and even if everything does not go as planned. Having that one declared focus gives you a measuring stick for success. You can evaluate your day not by how busy you were, but by whether you fulfilled your declared intention. One win a day is better than 1,000 scattered efforts. Momentum is built through daily intentional victories. And here's the secret. Over time, as you make this habit of daily declaration, you will begin to notice a shift in how you think, how you act, and how you use your time. You will no longer feel like time is slipping away from you. You will no longer be overwhelmed by the endless list of things to do. Instead, you will approach each day with clarity, confidence, and control. You will move from being a reactor of life to being a director of life. This habit will sharpen your leadership, not just over tasks, but over your mind, your emotions, and your destiny. Remember, time is not managed through calendars and clocks. It is managed through focus. And focus is not found, it is declared. So every morning, stand up, lift up your voice, and declare, "This is my focus today." Because when you declare your focus, you declare your future. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you allow into it will grow, whether it is seeds of purpose or seeds of pollution. The problem is, most people are not gatekeepers of their own thoughts. They allow anything and everything to enter. They wake up and immediately allow their minds to be invaded by noise, news filled with fear, social media filled with comparison, conversations filled with gossip, and entertainment filled with nonsense. And then they wonder why their minds are cluttered, why their emotions are unstable, and why their time is wasted on things that have nothing to do with their destiny. You cannot plant weeds and expect to harvest roses. You cannot feed your mind with junk and expect to produce clarity, creativity, and focus. One of the most critical daily habits for anyone who desires to live a life of purpose and maximize their time is this. You must become ruthless about guarding your mental input. You have to control your mental diet with the same seriousness as you would control your physical diet if you were an athlete preparing for a championship. Imagine an Olympic runner who eats fast food every day and never trains, expecting to win gold. It sounds foolish, yet many of us expect our minds to perform at peak level, while we continuously feed it with distractions, negativity, and trivial information. What you feed your mind consistently becomes your mental environment, and your environment dictates your outcomes. You see, your mind is constantly processing what you give it. Every word you hear, every image you see, every conversation you engage in, these are seeds. Some of these seeds will inspire you, sharpen you, and fuel your purpose. Others will drain you, distract you, and derail you, But here's the truth. You are the gatekeeper. You decide what enters. You decide which seeds are allowed to grow. That means you must start your day by setting a protective barrier around your mental space. In the first hour of your morning, you should not allow just any content to enter your mind. Why? Because the first hour sets the tone for the next 23. If the first thing you consume is filled with anxiety, outrage, or foolishness, your mind will be agitated and unfocused for the rest of the day. But if you choose to feed your mind with wisdom, inspiration, and purpose-driven content, you will activate clarity, composure, and creativity. This is not about isolating yourself from reality. It's about choosing which reality will dominate your thinking. Every piece of content you consume either builds your focus or breaks it down. When you feed your mind with information that aligns with your goals, you strengthen your mental muscles to stay focused. When you consume random, purposeless content, you weaken your ability to stay disciplined. Guarding your input also means being intentional about the conversations you engage in. Some people carry an atmosphere of negativity. They constantly complain, gossip, and bring up topics that have no value to your purpose. If you are not careful, their words will become seeds in your mind, growing into distractions that rob you of time and mental energy. You must be bold enough to distance yourself from conversations that are unproductive. This does not make you arrogant. It makes you a good steward of your purpose. It also means being selective with your entertainment. There is nothing wrong with enjoying a good movie or listening to music, but you must ask yourself, is this content serving my purpose, or is it sedating my potential? Entertainment should refresh you, not numb you. It should align with your values, not conflict with them. You cannot afford to feed your mind with content that contradicts the person you are becoming. Guarding your input is not about perfection, but about intention. It's about making sure that the majority of what you consume is aligned with your goals. If you want to become a leader, feed your mind with leadership content. If you want to master your craft, consume materials that sharpen your skills. If you want to live a life of purpose, immerse yourself in content that feeds your vision. One of the practical ways to control your mental diet is to create what I call a purpose feed. This is a curated list of books, podcasts, articles, videos, and even social media accounts that pour life, wisdom, and clarity into your mind. Every morning, instead of scrolling through random feeds, you intentionally consume from your purpose feed. This habit will slowly but surely rewire your mental patterns, and you will notice that your thinking becomes more strategic, your emotions become more stable, and your time becomes more focused. Another key is to monitor the volume of content you consume. Information overload is a silent killer of focus. Just because content is positive does not mean you need to consume it endlessly. You must balance consumption with creation. For every hour you spend consuming, you should spend at least an equal amount of time applying, creating, or executing. Otherwise, you will become mentally bloated with unused information. Guarding your input means being disciplined about how much you consume, not just what you consume. Let me tell you this. Time is not stolen by distractions outside of you. It is surrendered by the lack of discipline within you. When you become intentional about guarding your input, you take back control over your mind, your time, and ultimately your destiny. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your decisions, and your decisions are what shape your future. Therefore, controlling what goes into your mind is one of the most powerful time management strategies you will ever practice. Your mind is a sacred space. If you allow garbage in, you will get garbage out. But if you feed it with purpose-driven content, you will begin to see a transformation not just in how you think, but in how you live, how you work, and how you lead. Protect your mind, and you will protect your time. One of the greatest mistakes people make with their time is assuming that productivity is about non-stop activity. They believe that the more they keep moving, the more they are achieving. But what they fail to realize is that continuous motion without intentional reflection leads to busyness without effectiveness. Activity does not equal accomplishment. There is a silent principle that governs all high-impact individuals, and that is the discipline of scheduled reflection. If you do not pause to examine your thoughts, your direction, and your focus, you will spend your entire day reacting to life instead of directing it. You see, life is not lived in the rush. Life is designed in the pause. Reflection breaks are not interruptions. They are recalibrations. Throughout your day, you accumulate mental dust, small distractions, subtle emotional shifts, unnoticed energy leaks. If you don't stop to clean your mental lens, you'll begin to make decisions based on distorted thoughts, leading to mistakes that could have been avoided. That's why midday reflection is not a luxury. It is a necessity for anyone serious about maximizing their time. Here's the truth: your mind is like a compass. When it is calibrated, it points you in the direction of purpose. But as you go through the day, external influences, conversations, tasks, unexpected problems begin to slightly tilt that compass. If you never stop to realign, by the end of the day, you may find yourself far off course, working hard but on the wrong things. Scheduled reflection breaks are the moments when you pull out that compass, check your direction, and make micro adjustments that keep you aligned with your priorities. It's not enough to reflect at the end of the day. That's like checking a map after you've already arrived at the wrong destination. You need reflection in the middle of the journey. That's why you must deliberately schedule at least 2 or 3 short pauses in your day. These are not long breaks. Even 5 to 10 minutes of intentional reflection can save you hours of wasted effort later. In these moments, you step away from the noise, find a quiet space even if it's just your own mind, and you ask yourself key questions. Am I thinking the right thoughts right now? Am I still focused on what matters? Has my attention been hijacked by something that doesn't align with my purpose? Today, when you practice this consistently, you begin to develop mental hygiene. Just like physical hygiene keeps your body clean, mental hygiene keeps your thoughts clean and sharp. It prevents the buildup of frustration, confusion, and emotional residue that silently drain your energy. You begin to notice when your thinking has drifted into negativity. You catch yourself when you're operating from reaction instead of intention. Reflection is not about judging yourself, it's about adjusting yourself. Many people are afraid of pausing because they feel they don't have the time. They believe reflection is a delay. But let me tell you, reflection is not a delay, it is a strategy for acceleration. The 5 minutes you spend recalibrating can multiply the effectiveness of the next 5 hours. Without reflection, you may spend an entire day working on tasks that have no relevance to your long-term vision. With reflection, you ensure that every hour invested is aligned with purpose. That is how you multiply time. Reflection breaks also enhance emotional intelligence. In the rush of daily demands, it's easy to become reactive, snapping in frustration, getting agitated, or feeling overwhelmed. But when you schedule these moments to pause, breathe, and check in with yourself, you give your emotions a chance to settle. You begin to respond to situations from a place of calm authority rather than impulsive emotion. Leaders who reflect make wiser decisions because they lead from awareness, not from pressure. Furthermore, reflection cultivates gratitude. In the middle of the hustle, you might overlook small victories or divine moments of favor that deserve acknowledgement. When you pause, you create space to appreciate progress. This gratitude doesn't just uplift your mood, it shifts your perspective, reminding you why you started in the first place. It renews your energy and refocuses your motivation. Now, you must understand, reflection breaks are not passive. They are not idle moments of zoning out. They are active engagements with your mind and spirit. It's a meeting between you and yourself where you realign with your purpose. Some of the most strategic ideas, creative solutions, and breakthrough insights will not come while you're grinding in the noise. They will come in the stillness of reflection. But you must give yourself the space to listen. People often say, "I'm too busy to pause," but the reality is you're too purpose-driven not to pause. High performance is not about going faster, it's about going in the right direction with clarity. Reflection breaks are your opportunity to regain clarity, adjust priorities, and ensure that your time is being invested where it truly matters. This practice also develops self-discipline. In a world that constantly pulls at your attention, the ability to deliberately pause and reflect is a sign of mastery over your mind. You are telling your environment, I control my focus. My focus does not control me. You become proactive in managing your energy rather than reactive to external demands. Over time, as you embed reflection breaks into your daily rhythm, you will notice a transformation. You will feel less scattered, more grounded, and more in control of your time. You will begin to live with a sense of calm urgency, knowing that every moment counts, but also understanding that clarity always precedes speed. This is the secret that separates those who are busy from those who are effective. The world will keep rushing, but you will move with precision. Reflection breaks are not a pause from purpose, they are a return to it. Every time you stop to reflect, you are sharpening the sword of your mind. You are cleaning the window through which you see your day. You are taking ownership of your thoughts, your time, and ultimately your destiny. One of the most dangerous places to live is inside an undisciplined mind. A mind left unchecked becomes a playground for doubt, fear, negativity, and deception. The tragedy is not that negative thoughts come. The tragedy is that most people let them stay. You see, the battle for your time is not fought on your calendar, it is fought in your thoughts. If you do not take authority over your thought life, your time, your energy, your peace, and your destiny will be hijacked by the lies you allow to dwell in your mind. That's why one of the most critical daily disciplines is the practice of thought replacement, deliberately flipping the script. When negative or limiting thoughts attempt to take root, you cannot stop a negative thought from knocking at the door of your mind, but you have full power over whether you allow it in and let it sit down. You must understand that every thought carries an assignment. Some thoughts are sent to build you, others are sent to break you. Some thoughts are seeds of creativity and focus, others are seeds of fear and distraction. The mistake many people make is believing that every thought they think is true. But your thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are suggestions, and it is your responsibility to approve or reject them. When a thought arises that says, I am not good enough, or I will fail, or this is too hard for me, that thought is not merely innocent self-talk, it is an attempt to sabotage your potential, drain your energy, and waste your time with self-doubt. Every moment you spend entertaining a limiting thought is a moment you steal from your purpose. Time is not just lost through external distractions, it is wasted in internal dialogues of defeat. That is why you must develop the habit of flipping the script immediately. Thought replacement is not positive thinking for the sake of feeling better. It is a strategic discipline of aligning your thoughts with your assignment. When a disempowering thought surfaces, you don't negotiate with it. You don't analyze it, you replace it. For example, when the thought says, I can't handle this challenge, you flip the script and declare, I am fully equipped for this moment. When the thought whispers, I am falling behind, you respond with, I am right on time for my purpose. This is not denial, this is a deliberate choice to think in alignment with your destiny, not your doubts. You must realize that your mind operates like a theater. Whichever script you read from determines the role you will play. If you constantly allow negative scripts to run, you will live as a victim in your own story. But when you choose to replace those scripts with words of purpose and power, you step into the role of a leader, a creator, a solution bringer. Flipping the script is not about ignoring reality. It's about commanding your perspective within reality. This discipline also requires you to be vigilant. Negative thoughts often disguise themselves as reasonable concerns. They don't always scream failure. Sometimes they whisper caution. But there is a thin line between wise caution and paralyzing fear. When you hear the thought, maybe this isn't the right time, you must evaluate whether this is wisdom or simply fear in disguise. If it's fear, you flip it. You respond with, I am prepared and I will grow as I move forward. Thought replacement demands that you become an active participant in your thought life, not a passive listener. Some people believe that managing thoughts is a one-time fix, but no, it is a daily, moment-by-moment discipline. Just like your physical body needs constant hygiene, your mind needs constant cleansing. If you don't manage your thoughts daily, you will unknowingly begin to live out scripts that were never meant for you. Thoughts of limitation, of scarcity, of unworthiness, these scripts are not your story. But if you don't reject them, you will perform them. You must also understand that the words you speak are the weapons you use in this battle. The mind responds to the voice of its master. When a negative thought arises, don't merely think a positive counter. Speak it. Declare it out loud. Your own voice has the power to rewire your mental patterns. When you say, I am focused, I am capable, I am in control of my time, you are not just speaking affirmations, you are writing new scripts in the theater of your mind. You are taking back authority over your internal environment. This habit of flipping the script also saves you from countless hours of emotional detours. Many people lose half their day because they allowed a single negative thought to spiral into hours of worry, frustration, or discouragement. But when you practice immediate thought replacement, you intercept that spiral at its root. You cut off the time thief before it can rob you. It's not that negative thoughts won't come, they will, but their ability to dominate you is neutralized by your disciplined response. Over time, as you practice this, you will develop what I call mental reflexes. You will notice that your mind becomes quicker at identifying lies and flipping them into truth. You won't be dragged into emotional pits as easily. You'll waste less time in cycles of doubt. You will start to notice an increase in your daily productivity, not because you're working harder, but because you are thinking clearer. This is how you protect your time from being eroded by inner saboteurs. You become a gatekeeper of your mental scripts. You lead your thoughts, you don't follow them. Every time you flip a negative script, you reclaim minutes, hours, and ultimately your life. The most productive people are not those who never have negative thoughts. They are those who never allow those thoughts to dictate their actions. Master the habit of thought replacement, and you will master the ability to stay aligned with your purpose, regardless of the noise within or around you. Because the real battle is not outside, the real battle is always within. And the one who wins the battle of the mind will own the victory in time. One of the most powerful disciplines you can develop is the habit of ending each day with intentional gratitude reflection. We live in a world that trains us to focus on what we lack, to magnify what went wrong, and to constantly chase after what's next. But when you fail to pause and acknowledge what's already in your hands, you will always feel like you are behind. Gratitude is not a passive feeling, it is an active force that realigns your mind, resets your emotions, and recharges your spirit for the next level of responsibility. Most people go to bed with a cluttered mind. They replay their mistakes, rehearse their frustrations, and carry tomorrow's anxieties into tonight's sleep. This is why so many people wake up tired even after hours of rest. Their body slept, but their mind never shut down. The solution is not found in more hours of sleep. The solution is found in learning how to cleanse your mind before you close your eyes. Gratitude reflection is the mental detox that clears away the residue of negativity and repositions you for a peaceful, restorative rest. Every night before you lay down to sleep, take a few minutes to reflect on your day and identify at least 3 things you are genuinely grateful for. These do not have to be monumental victories. In fact, the true power of gratitude is found in appreciating the seemingly small moments, a conversation that encouraged you, a task you completed, an idea that sparked, a challenge you overcame, even the very breath in your lungs. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what went wrong to what went right, from scarcity to abundance. But here's what makes this practice transformative. You don't just think about these things silently. You write them down. There is something powerful that happens when you move gratitude from the mind to the page. It becomes tangible. It moves from being an abstract emotion to a documented reality. You are not just feeling thankful, you are recording evidence of progress, of favor, of purpose unfolding. Over time, these gratitude records become a living testimony that silences the voice of discouragement. You must understand that gratitude is not just about positive thinking. It's about sharpening your awareness of progress. So many people are making progress, but they cannot see it because they never pause to acknowledge it. Gratitude reflection is the lens that brings progress into focus. It trains you to see what is working, even in seasons where everything feels like it's moving slowly. When you become a person who reflects on gratitude daily, you are no longer at the mercy of external validation. You find fulfillment in the quiet victories that others may never see, but you know they are steps toward your destiny. This practice also strengthens your emotional resilience. Life will always present challenges, but a heart anchored in gratitude is not easily shaken. When you end your day by recounting what you are thankful for, you fortify your mind against the disappointments and delays that try to weigh you down. Gratitude is a shield that protects your joy. It's hard to remain discouraged when you are intentionally counting your blessings. The enemy of your purpose wants you to focus on what you lack so that you feel disqualified from what you're called to do. Gratitude flips that script and reminds you of the resources, relationships, and opportunities already in your possession. Another profound effect of nightly gratitude reflection is the impact it has on your sleep quality. When your mind is filled with worry and to-do lists, your body may rest, but your spirit remains restless. But when you end the day with gratitude, you calm the storm within. You give your mind permission to release the burdens of the day. You create an atmosphere of peace within yourself. This is not mystical, it's psychological and spiritual alignment. A grateful mind enters rest, not with anxiety about tomorrow, but with appreciation for today. Gratitude also sharpens your discernment. When you practice reflecting on what you are thankful for, you start to notice patterns of divine orchestration in your life. You begin to see how certain challenges pushed you toward growth, how certain delays protected you from premature decisions, how certain connections are doors waiting to be opened. Gratitude increases your sensitivity to the fingerprints of purpose on your daily experiences. You stop seeing life as random, and you start recognizing the strategic unfolding of your destiny. But here's the key: this habit must be intentional and consistent. Gratitude is a muscle that must be exercised daily. Some days it will feel easy, other days you may feel like you have nothing to be thankful for. But that's the test. It is in the difficult days that gratitude becomes most powerful. When you train yourself to find gratitude in the midst of frustration, you are developing a mindset that cannot be broken by circumstances. Over time, this practice will transform how you approach each new day. You will wake up with a mind that is primed for purpose because it ended the previous day in a posture of thankfulness. You will find that your energy increases, your focus sharpens, and your ability to manage time becomes more strategic. Why? Because gratitude clears the clutter of entitlement and self-pity, creating space for clarity and creativity to flow. It recalibrates your internal compass toward what truly matters. So when the day is done, before you surrender to sleep, take authority over your thoughts. Close the chapter of the day with gratitude, write it, speak it, feel it, because how you end your day determines how you begin the next. Gratitude is not a passive reflection. It is an intentional reset of your mind, your emotions, and your perspective. It is the final act of stewardship over the day you were given, preparing you to maximize the time you will be given tomorrow. One of the most neglected principles of time maximization is understanding that your day does not end when you go to sleep. In fact, the hours when your body rests are some of the most strategic moments to set your mind for instruction and revelation. Sleep is not just a physical necessity, it is a spiritual opportunity. While the world teaches people to switch off their minds before bed, those who walk in purpose understand that sleep is not an escape from responsibility, it is an extension of it. You must learn to sleep with intention, to sleep with an assignment, to sleep with purpose. Most people collapse into bed at the end of a long day, exhausted and mentally scattered. They let their last thoughts be filled with worry, frustration, or meaningless entertainment, and then they wonder why they wake up the next morning feeling just as empty as the night before. But here's the truth: how you enter sleep determines how you emerge from it. Your mind is a soil, and the thoughts you plant before sleep will be the harvest you reap when you rise. If you feed your mind with anxiety, you will wake up with confusion. If you sleep under the influence of unresolved problems, you will rise burdened by the same. But if you enter sleep with a clear purpose, you activate a realm of subconscious alignment where your mind, your spirit, and even divine inspiration begin to work on your behalf. You must understand that sleep is not idle time. It is a sacred space where your mind processes, organizes, and prioritizes the information it has received throughout the day. But it will only organize what you instruct it to. That is why, before you close your eyes, you must give your mind a clear directive. This is what I call nighttime instruction. You speak to your mind, you assign it an agenda for the night, you ask questions like, what solutions do I need to see more clearly? Or how can I execute my vision with greater efficiency? You set the expectation that while your body rests, your mind will be sorting, refining, and receiving clarity. This is not some mystical concept. It is a principle of mental stewardship. Throughout history, some of the greatest inventions, business strategies, and creative breakthroughs came to individuals during their sleep. It wasn't because of luck, it was because their minds had been primed with purposeful instruction before they rested. The human brain is a problem-solving machine. The issue is not whether it can solve problems. The issue is whether you are giving it the right problems to solve. When you practice sleeping with purpose, you also activate the principle of subconscious preparation. As you sleep, your mind rehearses and visualizes the assignments you have given it. If you are preparing for a major meeting, a creative project, or a leadership decision, you don't wait for the morning to figure it out. You plant the seed of expectation in your mind before sleep. You visualize success. You affirm, my mind will bring forth the strategies I need. This process aligns your internal environment to wake up not just with ideas, but with readiness to act. Another dimension of sleeping with purpose is spiritual receptivity. The nighttime is a season where your spirit is most open to receive divine instruction. In the stillness of sleep, without the distractions of the day, wisdom often speaks in whispers. But you will only hear these whispers if you enter sleep in a posture of expectancy. That is why you must cleanse your mind before bed through gratitude, reflection, and mental alignment, so that you enter rest with a receptive spirit. Purposeful sleep becomes a meeting place between your humanity and divine insight. You must also be aware of what you allow into your mind in the final hour before sleep. Many people sabotage their rest by consuming content that agitates their emotions, toxic news, mindless scrolling, or entertainment that adds no value. These inputs pollute the mental soil you are about to sleep on. You cannot expect clarity in the morning when you have filled your night with confusion. The last hour before sleep must be guarded with the same discipline as the first hour of your morning. You are setting the mental stage for the next day's performance. When you make sleeping with purpose a daily habit, you will begin to notice shifts in how you experience your mornings. You will wake up with sharper ideas, clearer direction, and a sense of inner momentum. It will feel as though while your body rested, your mind was working in the background, arranging thoughts, refining plans, and even birthing new strategies. You will experience what I call silent acceleration. Progress that happens in the unseen, in the quietness of rest, yet manifests as tangible productivity during the day. Sleeping with purpose also disciplines your mind to operate from a state of peace rather than pressure. When you release your worries into purposeful instruction before bed, you take the burdens off your chest and place them into a structured process. You go to sleep knowing that you have assigned your mind to work on your behalf, which allows your spirit to rest in assurance. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of structure in the midst of problems. This habit is a mark of leaders who understand time stewardship. They recognize that time is not merely the hours you are awake. Time includes how you use the hours when your body is at rest. A mind that is instructed will redeem the night and multiply its impact in the day. You are not wasting time when you sleep. You are sowing seeds for the next day's harvest, but you must sow with intention. So before you lay down each night, take control of the narrative in your mind, speak to your subconscious, assign your focus, expect clarity, expect solutions, because when you sleep with purpose, you do not just end a day, you prepare for dominion in the next. You rest not in exhaustion but in alignment, and when morning comes, you rise not in confusion but in command. Let me leave you with this truth: you do not have a time problem, you have a thought management problem. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not against people, circumstances, or systems. They are fought and won in the secret chambers of your own mind. Until you cleanse your thoughts, you will always contaminate your time. Until you master your inner world, you will always be a slave to the chaos of the outer world. Time is life. Every moment wasted in confusion, doubt, or distraction is a piece of your destiny slipping through your fingers. You were not designed to live reactive, exhausted, and scattered. You were born to lead your life with clarity, precision, and focus. But leadership begins within. If you cannot lead your thoughts, you cannot lead your hours. If you cannot govern your mind, you will forfeit your time. So I challenge you today: become the guardian of your mental environment. Filter your inputs. Direct your focus. Confront and replace every thought that violates your purpose. Dump the clutter, declare your agenda, reflect and recalibrate. End every day with gratitude, sleep with intentional instruction. These are not just habits, they are weapons. Weapons that empower you to dominate time instead of being dominated by it. Because the world will never give you more time, but if you master these habits, you will multiply the value of every second you already have. Your future is not waiting for more time. Your future is waiting for you to become a master of the mind. When you clean your thoughts, you clear your path. And when your path is clear, your time becomes a weapon of destiny fulfillment. The world is not waiting for more busy people. The world is waiting for focused minds, clean thoughts, and purpose-driven leaders who understand that every moment counts. You are that leader, but it starts here, it starts now, it starts within.